Greetings, and a warm positive vibrations, and a shout out to all of my early risers up early to leverage and take advantage of the quiet, the really intense and powerful quiet of the early day. This is Body-Culinary, and this early day, my contemplation is let your daughter's hair. I'm not telling you what to do. I don't tell grown folks what to do over here. I invite you to consider allowing your daughter's hair to grow long down to the floor. And that's one option. You also have the option of going to the best and finding the best braiders. There was Talani's Regal Movement, and she passed that on to New Wave Cultural Creations in Brooklyn, New York. You can tell Aquasa sent you because she gave me the most exquisite braids, other than my Auntie Joanne, I've ever had of my life. I'm just meditating and just vibing off of a vision that is just riding me and riding me and riding me. And I've shared a bit about it. This early day, I'm inviting you to allow your daughter's hair to grow just like it comes out of her head. I invite you to consider allowing it to lock and to get your daughter gold cords and flowers and butterflies to adorn her hair, or shells. If she wants to rock it in a kinky mohawk, let her rock it and adorn it and adorn your daughter. It's very, very important that from a young age that we have not only representation, not just merely just, like take a white or Caucasian, no offense to my vanilla followers out there or subscribers that I have followers, but no offense to vanilla folks. Being for yourself, it doesn't mean that somebody is against you per se, and we haven't really been for ourselves and representing ourselves on the whole. So when I was growing up, we got Caucasian dolls that they just threw haphazardly some off-color brown paint on, as if children were stupid. We were very well aware that our hair looked nothing like ours. It does something to our psyche. I invite you to allow your daughter to be regal. When I say regal, I mean regal. If I had known about this hair, that I didn't need products, that I didn't need all this stuff, let's be real. Allow them to experience themselves in a hair without the memories that are attacking or compromising our psyche of pain and bending and forcing our crown, our natural, divinely assigned characteristics and features, forcing it to do something it wasn't meant to do, it wasn't designed to do, it doesn't want to do. Thus, the pain, the frustration, the torture, the psychological torture, the compromise of our esteem from a young age. For those of you who may be new to this channel, I'm Body-Culinary, aka Kwasa Peaceful Eating. I am a fitness and personal trainer, coach. I am a classically trained professional chef. I am a mother. I am a woman. I am a human being, and I love gardening. On this channel, I share some reflections from my journey of radical self-acceptance, which has been going on several decades, and it still continues to this day. So I love the early day. I love the garden. I love being in the kitchen, the food prep area, preparing beautiful, healthy food for vitality, longevity, my mood, as well as beauty. Right? That's the energy that I prefer to consume. So I'm vibing this early day on my young spirit and the other young spirits that are out there, and the numerous women that have reached out to me. Some mothers, older mothers, some or more seasoned mothers, let me say that, and then some newer mothers. as well as some young women that have reached out to me. And I contemplate a lot about how much trauma, societal trauma, some that happens in our community, some that happen in the world community, really affects our psyche and drives us subconsciously to put ourselves in harm's way. And one of the things that I'm just feeling very passionately about this morning is I'm just thinking of the experience of all the teasing. This is something I am not of the mindset of waiting for anybody campaigns. It's delusional, and I think many human beings, but I can speak for as an Afro woman and a mother, many of us are delusional. You know, no offense to anyone's religion. I've done my step. Most of them grew up very religious, of which I'm not anymore. But a lot of times we have this thing of begging and pleading, and I get where it comes from. You know, begging and pleading a lot for relief. But also, this is a time of accountability and discernment and observing and taking accountability for what we have been doing that isn't yielding and hasn't yielded a result. We seem to be more inclined, and we've been conditioned to go more into rhetoric or the scripture or verse of choice that is not really affecting or is not having the desired change when it comes to our personal health and our psyches. So I notice a disassociation and a disconnect and a lack of results. Anything that I say that doesn't resonate, please feel free to respectfully leave it right here. But I'm feeling for my young self. I'm feeling for the young self of all the women and mothers who, in addition to many have been violated, and if not physically violated or perhaps even penetrated, our psyches have been penetrated. And it's a constant attack on our psyches. Well, we're not feeling good about ourselves if we don't have makeup palettes, if we don't have $500 worth of makeup. We've got lips and gluteus maximus, body parts that other people today are spending thousands and thousands of dollars to inject to look like this particular that is naturally given to us, divinely assigned. And many of us in societal and perhaps community or whatever kind of trauma are not present. Not present, out to lunch. We're in constant healing phase. We're healing. When suspended animation with healing, we haven't got about the business to come out of healing into the present to model joy, adventure, maximizing this life, fully leveraging the resources that are available to us, being fully self-expressed without inhibition and fear, speaking up for ourselves, setting healthy boundaries. This is all connected to our esteem and not being protected and being left out to the wolves, which is a whole chain of events and many of us making poor choices. But it's a vicious cycle because folks that are traumatized and violated usually don't have, our sense of boundaries has been altered. Healthy boundaries has been altered from early, very, very early on. So the only ones that really have a vested interest, that stand to gain the most in corrective action, is those who are affected. And so I say to you today, you can call it catty, you can call it superficial. See, it's all context. We have folks selling almost like Halloween costumes to us at a premium. Yet folks are spending thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to mimic what we have been divinely assigned, given. That's a beauty mark that makes us unique, your most unique features. The things that are the most unique cost the most. So I dare say it's a Jedi mind trick. I invite you to consider, allow your daughter's hair to flourish and to grow. I say the easiest thing, the most carefree thing, is just what it's doing naturally. The confidence that you can walk with, let it grow down to the floor. Little separation, clean, a free experience with full regalia, full adornment and creativity. I watched other children, at my local food co-op, shout out to the food co-op. I watch the children in other communities. They're allowed to wear their little fairy costumes and their Halloween costumes to school. That's not really us culturally. But everyone has to have the experience in their stamp, the representation, not just of a doll, but our whole experience, so we can have pleasant memories and something to look forward to. And so that means that it will be up to us community mamas and mamas, natural birth mamas and community mamas. Some of you may be watching this channel that have adopted some Afro children. Our psyche is very important to our mental health, because folks will put all this money and folks put all of these classes, and that's great. But our psyche is compromised by all the messages being hurled at us. I invite you to let your daughter's hair grow long. I invite you to consider corrective action and having a conversation with the parents around your way, so that we get off this thing of teasing and encourage, way back they used to call it doing the dozens. But the cruelty, the subtle cruelty in teasing and ridiculing each other, this is something that the adults will have to check, because if we're doing it, this is what we're modeling for our children. These things deeply affect these vulnerable human spirits. We're affected. Take a look around, we're affected. So I invite us to apply some corrective action to all of this. And I get why. We've become very desensitized to being cruel and callous in our teasing and our ridicule of each other and making light of each other's pain, right? And so we have many grown women that have grown up without support. And again, it's not necessarily in a therapist, and we shouldn't have to rely ultimately on therapists for things that should be community-wide. So only we, the mothers, that's I'm like, reactivate the ways of the mothers and the grandmothers, the wisdom, the living wisdom that's applicable, that needs to be applied. That if we want to shift in the culture, that is something that we're going to have to apply. So I have a vision. And it's riding me. It's continuing to evolve. And I just see something. I don't want to put it out there too quick, but there's some things that need to be in place. Some things that need to be in place. A sense of confidence and protection. This can't be just, let me send my daughter to a class. For years, I've had mothers who, especially from other cultures, when they're concerned about their daughters getting married, they would want to send their daughters to me for fitness and to help them lose weight. And I would ask, personal experience, are you eating healthy? No, it's not me. I just need it for my daughter. It's important that we model behaviors that we want to see exhibited in our children. It is important that their childhood be protected. They don't need to be grown-ups. They don't need to be grown-ups. They don't have the psychological processing, but their physical bodies and their psyche and their emotions need to be protected. I'm not talking about rewarding them for things they haven't done. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying that we need to see a celebration, a sincere celebration. So that would mean we have to celebrate our own unique presence in order for them to see it. Children can pick up on a lack of sincerity. So in embracing ourselves, that is something that we can do also for our daughters, to celebrate our healthy body parts and to adorn them and to keep the hygiene, to the care of the body temple, not just by stuffing ourselves and squeezing ourselves and painting ourselves, but the health, which is why I always encourage health as our number one beauty product. In addition, consider certain rites of passage. So there's some folks that are familiar with rites of passage, but consider conversations with your daughters around self-defense. This healthy. Be able to be strategic, but physically fit. That means that mothers, we must be physically fit in order to defend ourselves. There's nothing more feminine. Take a look with your daughters and look online and pull up lionesses. Because if you come near the children, the mother will handle the business and destroy you. It doesn't make us any less feminine. It is very important that we have practical skills, not just mouth, but some practical skills and a level of fitness. This must be modeled. Hygiene is not just putting some sprays and things that we're injecting up into our sacred wombs, which will actually interrupt the natural pH balance. It's a self-cleansing organism. Educate your daughters in a very gentle, safe, loving way about our sacred womb parts. It shouldn't have to be men and doctors that don't really have our best interests educating us on these things. And it's not just about sitting over steams after the fact, after we've compromised our body parts, that is way before the confidence and the esteem could perhaps greatly help and aid in us not putting ourselves in harm's way in the first place, because we're modeling self-care. We're modeling esteem. Esteem is not just your presentation. That's a part of it. But it is also health. When you value your health, you don't put yourself in harm's way. That must be modeled for all of us. And where we've been off, it's up to us to apply the corrective action. We're the only ones that have it in our best interest. And let our daughters allow us to see us heal, to heal our skin, and to heal our body so that we can perform, and so we can jump double dutch, roller skate, play, and defend ourselves. And plant some beautiful vegetables and flowers in the garden, because we're not workhorses or mules. Allow your daughters' crowns to flourish unapologetically, just as we popped out onto this 3D earth plane. We've got so many cornrows. Fine, look up now. The ones that I know are the best come from Talani Kennard. So there was a whole generation of master, exquisite braiders, not tight, clean, that were here in the Americas. So I know hopefully they're still there. Support new wave cultural creations. Other than Talani Kennard, best braiding salon I ever went to. Right? Allow your support other little girls when you see them wear their natural hair. From young, when you get older, you can play dress up if you want to, but there's something to be said for the economy and the esteem of what we were born with. Allow your daughter's hair to grow down to the ground. And protect us, right? If they're mature women, some of us can be perhaps jaded. And let them learn on their own. I invite you to protect the girls, their innocence. Because if the mother's traumatized, the ripple effect will go throughout the whole community. If you want to know how the community is doing, look at the situation and the mentality of the mothers and the children. Mothers that are not feeling good about ourselves are likely not going to be emotionally and mentally present. So we will have a tendency to share our habits and our self-medication with the offspring. And we may likely be angry and pop off at our boy children as well, our boy and our girl children. A lot of this is going to speak to, getting to the root of not placing ourselves in harm's way and being extremely intentional about parenting. The human beings that we are deciding to portal, that we're allowing to beam onto this side. Perhaps some of us for perhaps some selfish purposes. So if we're going to choose to be stewards of these human beings, as we look around at our friends, our co-workers, as we look in the mirror, and if we see human beings who are irresponsible with a lack of accountability, are we setting the stage in an environment, right, where these children come in stable mentally and emotionally with both parents, with the resources that they need, instead of winging it? Winging it hasn't been cutting the mustard. Many of us are suffering internally from winging it. And our children, each generation notices the hypocrisy. Greetings. So this can go to whoever. I speak to Afro flowers, whatever flower shows up on here, because our children, we don't live on the planet by ourselves. And all of our children are going to have to decide not to blow this sucker up. So I invite you, celebrate what you got. Encourage the other children. We have to encourage and find a way to, learn how to communicate when we are angered or triggered, to not totally destroy each other's esteem and confidence. Because this is how we are producing children without emotions, human beings who will come in and do damage. Because not having lap time, not having parents who are present. I invite you to consider, women, I don't know everything. You're welcome to comment respectfully, in the comments. Some women that don't have children, not everybody perhaps needs to be a parent in the same way. So society has many women that are single feeling like you are a throwaway if you don't have children. If you want to get your community mama on, get it on, because one of the greatest mothers in my life had no children. When I tell you she is the supreme mother, she and my godparents could get whatever resource I have forever because of what they extended to me. Didn't manipulate me, didn't try to get in my drawers, didn't ask me for money. We need more community mothers and community aunties out there that are going to create a safe space and be protective. Not manipulate young people, but be protective. You can get your mother on. They don't have to come through your womb per se, your physical womb. They need stability. They need resources. We needed it. Why do we think that these children here don't need it? So we are seeing the fruit of the children left unattended. They've come of age. Parents who are emotionally unavailable. And we get the part of the men. But because of we want to project our needs and our neediness onto children, we are seeing the fruit that is coming forth. It is a volunteer position. It is a stewardship position. It is a selfless position. So many of us are not really in a position to do that. So with our ego, we're just going to prove we're going to do it anyway. We're going to continue to wing it. There are plenty of young people that need your time. And they don't just need our rhetoric. They need to see. I needed to see a woman that looked like me, thriving, not bitter, physically fit, living her best life. I called her. I was looking for her. I needed to see her. I needed to see that woman. I need to see other women, but I needed to see a woman that looked like me. And there are young women and men that need to see you flourishing, and we're just not totally, we have given into the victimhood of what has happened to us. Young people need to see us emotionally and mentally healthy beyond just the things that we're putting on. My aunt who has no children, my mom too. My daughter is coming to visit me, and she colored her hair for years. I will talk to her about us. And so that's great. I also would say that I don't think it's necessary perhaps about preaching to our children, because I've been there myself, because they do have artistic expression, and we will likely as human beings, project some of our stuff, sometimes in fear, out of children. So if maybe perhaps for me, if it wouldn't damage my hair and if it wouldn't contribute to fibroids, I might one day want to have some purple hair. I think the concern is at the root is if we're placing ourselves in harm's way in terms of physically. Number two is if we're running away from ourselves and we don't accept ourselves. So I think there's a balance. I can't tell everybody what to do. There's a balance between expression and trying things on. I think the it's kind of blurry today because everything has been hypersexualized, right? And a lot of the so-called adornment, or some of the expression is almost like a self-cutting or trying to prove something or to go along with the Joneses. I think you have to feel out who your child is or the young person that's around you, because I think self-expression is fantastic. I think there's a balance. But when we're altering ourselves or making permanent changes to ourselves, when we know that you're going to go through so many different phases, your diet may change, your artistic expression will likely change, your different things that you're interested in will change. A lot of times young people are making permanent decisions, right, to ourselves when, you just want to explore. So there's nothing wrong with it exploring. I recommend most young people get some safe, because there's unsafe henna, and tattoo it up if you want to. Right? But not permanently altering your body. See, it's up to the mothers out here, right? to give some guidance, but some of us are in need of guidance. So your health, your relaxation, #1 beauty product. And then perhaps a lot of mothers. I, for years, have been big on participating in young women's rites of passage and working with them with food and internal hygiene. With food, but I've always felt when the children were taking the dance classes, I was like, the mothers need to get out there and dance too and be expressive, because we get so tight and wound up. We don't roller skate, we don't play, we don't dance, party pooper. We don't even get up and dance anymore. It gets, too religified. So we need to be expressing also, so that we can be healthy and feel fulfilled. If you're sitting around bitter and all dried up, then you might just hate on the young folks and on the children. So it's not about us just preaching rhetoric. Sometimes just to ask questions about, what look or style they're going for, and to be supportive. Because young people around, if they don't feel that they have our ear and if they feel we're just going to preach to them, they'll close down. Right? They won't be expressive. We are a safe space, ideally a safe space. So we've got to be healthy. They need a safe space. We need a safe space too, to explore, to express, right? Because these are at the root. Folks usually ask me for more exercises and recipes, and I keep telling you, recipes and exercise is easy. Not a problem in my sleep, but the root, there's something going on at the root of our self-sabotaging behaviors and self-inflicted nonsense and self-inflicted pain, and putting our reproductive organs in harm's way, and inviting people into our psyche, our panties, and our pocketbook who we have not vetted properly. That's coming from somewhere. I invite you, support your daughters and support the young people in neutralizing all of this teasing and the verbal cruelty to each other, and not asking questions. One thing that children will teach you: nobody does something without a reason. No one. The worst behavior you can think of. These people don't pop out onto the planet like that. And if there's something in their DNA that's causing them to be like that, again, we need to consider it's for us. Well, let me not tell folks what to do. It would behoove us to be very particular about who we're choosing to portal human beings onto this planet with. It's not just for us selfishly. Because, look around. Most human beings go looking for their other part of themselves and feel very incomplete. So it's not just the material things. Human beings need mental, emotional support. We're using medication culture in a society now to medicate things that relationships would have taken care of. So just on my spirit today, I'm just imagining if my hair had been untampered with, and women, they just did what they knew. If it was allowed to thrive and to drag on the ground, a lot of us would still have the hair on our head and our eyebrows intact and our eyelashes. If I knew about whole living foods, and if there was a whole table full of fresh fruit, that would have lit my world up. I didn't know that you can get sweet potato right off a tree, a sweet potato pie and a fruit. My man. It should be a video on this channel. And pineapple. And our children love fresh fruit. That could have saved me so much drama. That could have saved so much yeast infections, acne, unhealthy weight. I invite you, nourish yourselves. Make sure you're taken care of. And there are different things. You invest in yourself. Invest in your blueberries. Invest in your herbs and your bitters. There's a lot of stuff we can downsize, make space in your home sanctuary you're paying rent or mortgage for, so you have room to play. We need to play and sweat and roll on the floor and be silly. We also need some self-defense, right? Instead of begging for respect. We're begging and pleading, whatever you call the Most High has given us tools. So I invite you culturally. I ain't telling no grown folks what to do. But we have been given tools that perhaps because of trauma that we're not accessing. And sometimes we don't even understand why we're doing the self-sabotaging behavior that we're engaging in. So I invite you today to take the time to relax, because when you relax and you breathe, you can hear when you remove a lot of the distraction. We have so much. We're not, you know how they say we're not using 10% of our brain? We're not living at our fullest potential. And if our daughters don't see that model, they're kind of set up a little bit because there's so much distraction with our esteem and fitting in and fighting to put ourselves, competing to put ourselves in harm's way. And that can take 25, 30 years off of your life that you cannot get back. From young people going along, following everything on social media. So I invite us to consider being a community mama, a community auntie also that includes modeling healthy behavior, modeling self-care of yourself, prioritizing your movement practice, relaxation, eating beautiful food for beauty, longevity, your mood, creativity. See, already, if you have certain core values in place, that would already determine what you're going to put into your mouth. Then it's not a struggle. Beauty and relaxation is our number one health product. I invite you to consider that. Try it on for size. I invite you to get some play in. See if you can play around with your own hair and your own skin. You can pick up the makeup stuff. But I invite you to consider, listen to the narrative, the dialogue that's going on in your head. And who put that narrative there? That we have to cut off this and we have to cut off the natural expression. Even the so-called wear and tear has these negative connotations. Your life has a fingerprint on it. Could we perhaps be invalidating our whole fingerprint? There's something here that's causing a kind of, I don't know, subtle, not so subtle mental illness where we cannot relax into ourselves, and our daughters and our children are picking up on it, right? Not just what we show. If we don't respect ourselves, then that's really, no matter what we say out of our mouths, that's what really the undertone. That's the message that children are getting. They may not articulate it until they're well into adulthood. Well, this is what I really felt about what I saw you doing, and allowing yourself to be put in harm's way, or allowing yourself to be mistreated or mistreating yourself. Children, young people, men may not tell you until they're in their 50s what they really thought. Our life is 1000% our responsibility. So I invite you, hold space for yourself, invest in yourself, your education, your beautiful food, self-defense, so you can address any kind of fears. If it's swimming, driving, I've been taking lessons for years. Self-defense. Your daughters, get them pocket knives and pepper spray. Take martial arts with them. Hiccups. Look at the lionesses online. Watch a big, gigantic lion. Watch them walk. It's your homework assignment. Voluntary, of course. Watch lionesses. Watch them walk. Watch the lions walk. Watch their natural sachet. They will destroy you if you come after the children. Children need to be allowed to be children and not have all our projections, not just hypersexuality, but also our depression, all of that stuff. I even understand more as I'm older. I couldn't totally see it. I can see more clearly now. In retrospect, I can see how we can have a tendency with our boys to put stuff on them because you figure, when you're younger, I remember my 14-year-old homies, you want somebody to love. So what does that mean, love? Not just stroking the babies for a hot second. Tell them your secrets or tell them what you're depressed about. That's not their job as children. They need to be safe, psychologically, emotionally, and physically. So we can have some compassionate and responsible and accountable human beings out here that have the mental fortitude to come up with a solution. But that's not likely if everybody's just traumatized, just vomiting and regurgitating it back and forth on each other. So anyway, I'm sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. Allow your daughters here to grow to the ground, natural. Let her have a healthy sense of vanity about it's mine. Let her take some aloe gel and brush the eyelashes. Maybe put some castor on your eyelashes. Let them play that way. We don't have to totally cover ourselves. I invite you, Go get a safe henna with your daughter or your son instead of altering our body parts. And I'm looking forward to having some kinds of workshops around hygiene, because hygiene is not just putting sprays on that are actually harmful to our organs. It's also what we're eating on the inside, right? So those are my quiet early day reflections. I'm inviting you all to create a great day on purpose. Feel free to check out the puppet series on this channel, Sister Butterfly and Sister Monkey. They learn to eat better. Not politically correct, but clean enough and hilarious for adults and children. There's also teas with a purpose, like fruits and vegetables bring us together. There's also the Afro amulet, and there's the sacred cowrie that is a symbol. They're all hand cut, a symbol of femininity, right, of ancestral femininity, and the sacred Bantu Afro, and there are gold face masks. If we've got to go out with this mask on, might as well drop some gold in there on your kinks and on your beautiful face. Those are on the Body-Culinary Etsy shop. If you would like insight into what I've been doing for going on 12 years in terms of eating whole, fresh, living, unprocessed foods with their living water still intact, no dehydrator necessary. You want to see the pictures and save yourself loads of time. I put 30 years of my insight into that guide along with pictures. That also Natural Beauty, no products. Right before I allowed my hair to lock, really locked on its own. You can see how I've been using, I'm literally putting food inside and also on my hair and my skin, right? And so, yeah, those are the different things that I'm up to. Also, hopefully the class, I don't know if the link should be working. I will double check. Efficient Fitness and Common Sense Nutrition. That is going to be Monday through Thursdays from 1 to 2 Central Standard Time. So it's a 2-hour difference, I think, Eastern Standard Time. And there will also be Afro Flow. That will be cardio, sculpt, as well as some trance dance thrown in there for some enjoyment. So very efficient fitness right from your home. And I do answer in efficient fitness. I'll answer a lot of questions about why, because I've been in the personal training fitness industry for decades. So I want to be answering questions about how to work around injuries, talking about rehab exercises, exercising safely and efficiently, as well as exercise selection, so that folks are choosing exercises that yield the results that you want. There are a million exercises. You don't need to do all of them, only the ones that are appropriate for your body, and keeping yourself safe and being consistent, as well as totally demystifying nutrition. So I'm not attached to what label you call yourself, right? I'm not the food police. I'm not the hair police. So at least the least harm possible to your own body temple. If I felt like I wanted to eat fish, that's what I would do. But that's not what I'm called to do. So only you and your quiet moments know what's going to work for you. That's what I'm doing. That's what resonates with me for health reasons also. Just mentally and emotionally. You have to find what is your journey, whether that's makeup, shampoo, no makeup, no shampoo. It's for you to explore. This is your journey. This is your journey. So have your journey. Have your time. Get your results. I invite you, whatever that is, to eat for beauty, vitality, longevity, and for your mood. And you will find, if you have core values, that will guide your choices, and you try things on for size, and at some point you can decide, this isn't working for me. And so that process can perhaps be a more natural, sane, balanced way for you to discover what I call your sweet spot of consumption. So you don't have to think about dieting anymore. We don't need one more thing to divide us on the planet. That's not my job. Y'all create a great day on purpose. Support the channel, and I will see you soon. Like, comment, and subscribe.